So I want you to picture the most romantic scene you can possibly think of.
Oh, okay. Like a candlelit dinner.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe you're standing at an altar and two people are making, the ultimate promise to each other.
Right, the classic vows.
Exactly. They look each other in the eye and they vow to forsake all others, right? To
Right.
love only each other until the end of time.
It's what we're all taught to want.
Right. You've been told your entire life that this is the absolute gold standard of human connection. But what if that exact promise is actually a trap?
A trap.
Yeah. What if those beautiful, tear-jerking vows are fundamentally a satanic program designed to basically guarantee human misery?
Wow. I mean, that is a massive shock to the system to hear those ideals described that way.
It really is.
It completely contradicts, the foundational morality that our entire modern society is built on.
Which is exactly why we're unpacking this today. Welcome to the deep dive, everyone. We are looking at an incredibly provocative translated essay today.
Right. It's titled An Amorous Heart is the Truest Heart. And it's written by an author named Sui Feng.
And our mission today is really to just look at the underlying architecture of this philosophy, because it argues that being amorous...
Who's having a wandering eye, being fickle, or even polyamorous, right?
No, exactly. It argues that being that way is not a character flaw at all. It's actually the purest essence of human nature.
But before we go any further, we really need to set a clear baseline for you, the listener.
Yes, definitely. Because the material we're exploring today, it completely deconstructs the traditional family unit.
Yeah, marriage, societal morals. And it does it in a way that is blunt and, frankly, highly controversial.
Right. So we want to be super clear. We are acting entirely as your guides through this thought experiment. We aren't endorsing these views.
Not at all. We aren't taking sides on the politics or the morality of it.
Exactly. We're simply putting this really unique philosophical perspective under the microscope just to understand the mechanics of how the author actually arrived at these conclusions.
Right. And to really understand that perspective, we have to start with Sui Feng's central premise. It's about how human attraction actually functions at a biological and spiritual level.
Okay. So where does he start?
Well, the argument isn't just that humans occasionally, enjoy variety. It goes way deeper into this concept described as forms give birth to souls, and souls give birth to all phenomena.
Forms give birth to souls. What does that actually mean in practical terms?
Basically, it means our internal reality is constantly being generated by the external stimuli we encounter.
Oh, I see. So if I see something beautiful, that literal form creates a new spark, or like a soul inside of me.
Precisely. And to illustrate why an amorous nature is our default baseline, Sui Feng uses this kind of mathematical thought experiment.
I love a good thought experiment. Let's hear it.
Okay, so picture a beautiful woman standing in front of like 10,000 handsome men, or a handsome man facing 10,000 beautiful women.
Okay, quite the crowd.
Right. The argument is that 10,000 entirely distinct natural infatuations will blossom automatically.
10,000 distinct infatuations. That is...
But because the attraction isn't some singular reservoir that just gets drained by one person.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it is an infinitely renewable reaction to every single instance of beauty that you encounter.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second. Because framing it as 10,000 distinct infatuations, that completely changes the whole definition of love.
It really does. It flips it on its head.
Because we usually treat love like a single high-voltage battery, right? You plug it into one person, and if you try to plug it into anyone else, the power drops.
Exactly, the scarcity model.
Right. But Sui Feng is treating human attraction more like appreciating art.
That's a great analogy.
Like if you walk into the Louvre, you don't pick one painting to stare at for the rest of your life and refuse to look at the others. You naturally appreciate every masterpiece you see.
Right, and the text actually uses a really similar metaphor.
Yeah.
It points out that a woman will never want to eat from only one apple tree her entire life.
Right, of course not. But here is my hang-up, and I'm sure it's what you're thinking too.
What's that?
If this 10,000 infatuation model is our biological and spiritual baseline, how did we end up with a global society that universally praises the exact opposite?
The monogamy ideal.
Yeah. Every movie, every religion, every fairy tale tells us that suppressing that wandering eye to focus on one person is the ultimate virtue.
Well, Sui Feng addresses that massive gap by arguing that society hasn't just misunderstood our nature. It has actively hijacked it.
Hijacked it.
Yeah. The essay introduces the concept of the Tathagata nature.
Tathagata, that's a Buddhist term, right?
Yes. In traditional Buddhist philosophy, Tathagata usually refers to the ultimate unconditioned reality. It's often associated with reaching the state of pure, detached enlightenment.
Okay.
But Shifeng flips that concept completely. He argues that our ultimate unconditioned reality is actually our amorous, wandering heart.
Wait, really? So just raw attraction is enlightenment?
Exactly. That raw, unfiltered reaction to beauty is our spiritual purity, according to the text.
Wow. And so society basically covers up that purity with a massive layer of fake morality?
Yes, exactly. Morals, ethics, and religious doctrines basically force people to put on these masks to hide their Tathagata nature.
Man, think about the psychological toll of that kind of suppression.
Right.
Because if your fundamental nature is to appreciate 10,000 forms of beauty, but you are forced from birth to pretend you only see one.
You're living in a constant state of cognitive dissonance.
Exactly. It's got to be exhausting.
And Zhufeng posits that this forced masquerade is the root cause of almost all human suffering, anxiety, and sorrow in the world.
So it's not just a minor inconvenience, it's destroying us.
Right. And people are not only wearing these masks of exclusive loyalty themselves, but they are vigorously enforcing them on everyone else.
Oh, like shaming anyone who steps out of line.
Exactly, praising the mask and threatening anyone who dares to take it off.
Hold on, though. Calling it a mask makes it sound like we are all secretly agonizing over monogamy every second of the day.
Sure.
Isn't it possible that someone could just find peace in commitment? I mean, to say every single person in a traditional marriage is living a lie feels like a massive leap.
It does sound extreme.
Doesn't that just provide a convenient philosophical excuse for, lacking self-control and just acting selfishly?
That is the natural counterargument, absolutely.
Yeah.
But Wei Feng actually pushes past the whole idea of self-control
How so?
by evaluating the actual output of our societal institutions. He isn't just looking at individual feelings. He evaluates the entire system using a technical diagnostic that he calls the input and feedback method.
Input and feedback. So it's a framework to determine whether a societal structure is angelic or satanic, right?
It's a way to measure the truth of a system.
So it's basically like debugging a piece of software.
Yes.
If I write a simple line of code that's meant to just print hello world, but every time I run it, my computer crashes and the hard drive gets wiped.
You know something's wrong with the code.
Right. The intention doesn't matter. The feedback proves the program is broken.
That is a perfect parallel, because an angelic program operates on logical causality, reaping what you sow.
Right.
Wei Feng calls it reaping melons from melon seeds. If the system is functioning truly, the input directly matches the feedback.
Okay, so what happens when we run this diagnostic test on marriage and the traditional family unit?
Well, the results are completely inverted.
Inverted how?
You input love, and you get hate. You input true feelings, and you receive false love in return. You input hope, and the system spits out despair.
Man. So it's the equivalent of planting those melon seeds and watching toxic beans grow out of the ground.
Exactly, reaping beans from melon seeds.
And because of that corrupted feedback loop, Shuafeng just flat out labels marriage and the family unit as a devil's program.
Yes, he sees it as a curse that has had humanity trapped for thousands of years.
And this critique doesn't even stop at romantic partnerships, does it?
No, it goes further. The essay deconstructs the entire family dynamic to show how deeply this devil's program really runs. And it starts with filial piety.
Oh, wow. So challenging the relationship between parents and children.
Right. For millennia, the obligation of children to care for their elders has been the bedrock of civilization, especially in Eastern cultures.
Right. It's considered the ultimate moral duty.
But Shuifeng looks at the historical reality of this expectation, and he gets incredibly cynical. He highlights this well-known proverb.
Oh, I remember this. Where there are chronic sicknesses, there are no dutiful children at bedsides.
Exactly.
Which exposes a really harsh, almost mechanical truth about human endurance versus moral expectation.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
Because as long as the parents are healthy or providing resources, the children appear filial. But the moment the parents become a permanent, chronic drain on resources,
that supposedly unconditional devotion just evaporates.
the software crashes.
Right. Shuifeng even references a poem pointing out that history is filled with unconditionally loving parents. But you'd be hard-pressed to find a truly unconditionally filial son.
Wow. Okay, so if the devotion of your own children is an illusion built on convenience, Shuifeng argues the devotion of a spouse is even darker.
Much darker. The reality of the devil's program dictates that a spouse's loyalty is largely tied to what they can extract from you.
Extract from you. That's so transactional.
Very. The essay cynically notes that if a wife actually waits until after you die to leave, you should consider yourself incredibly lucky.
Wait, really?
Yeah, because most leave long before that.
And even if they physically stay in the house, Shufeng suggests they are likely secretly longing for your death just to be free of the burden.
Right.
And if they aren't hoping for your death, it is purely because they still need your money, your status, or your labor.
Exactly. It is a completely transactional reality that's just masquerading as eternal love.
Okay, think about what that implies for you listening right now. Think about the last time you were at a wedding, watching a couple make those lifelong vows.
It completely changes the picture.
It does. If this family structure is inherently a miserable, unnatural construct designed to harvest resentment, why do billions of people willingly walk into it and swear to love only you for my entire life?
Because according to this philosophy, the vow itself is a conditional lie.
A conditional lie.
Yes, it's a scam, but it's a scam born out of circumstance, not necessarily malice.
How does that work?
Well, Shufeng uses the example of a poor, helpless man to explain it. When this man looks at his partner and promises absolute, exclusive love, he might actually believe he's telling the truth in that isolated moment.
He believes it because his options are artificially restricted by his lack of resources, right? Like his software hasn't been tested by abundance yet.
Exactly. When you only have access to one apple tree, pledging to only eat from that tree is easy.
Right. But Sweffing argues that if this man suddenly experiences a dramatic spike in wealth and social status, the parameters totally change.
Yes, the environment shifts.
The moment he has the resources to access the 10,000 infatuations we talked about earlier, saying, I will love only you, suddenly becomes a deception.
The essay says, the fox's tail will be exposed.
The fox's tail. I like that.
It means the amorous Tathagata nature was always running the background. It was just temporarily suppressed by poverty.
And this rule applies equally to everyone, regardless of gender, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's a universal human condition in his view.
Yeah.
And to really hammer home how unnatural it is to suppress that true nature, the essay introduces this deeply unsettling botanical analogy.
The monster flower. This is where it gets really weird, but fascinating.
Right. So imagine a bright, beautiful flower. But this particular flower has a really strange behavior. It only blooms for one specific person.
Okay, let's call him Zhang San.
Sure. So for Zheng San, it opens up, it radiates beauty. But the second anyone else walks by, say Li Si or Wang Wu, the flower immediately wilts, closes up, and hides its beauty.
It just shuts down.
Yes. So the core question Suofeng asks is, can we still call that a flower?
It sounds like a smart bulb that's programmed to only turn on when it recognizes a specific MAC address on a phone.
Right.
It's completely unnatural because a real flower doesn't hoard its beauty. It just blooms into the void, regardless of who is observing it.
Exactly. Suofeng actually calls the selective flower a monster's spirit.
A monster's spirit, wow.
Now, map that monster analogy directly onto human behavior.
Okay.
If a person smiles warmly and shows their vibrant, loving self to exactly one person, but immediately turns cold, crosses their eyebrows, and shuts down the moment they interact with anyone else,
Yeah.
are they acting human?
According to this text, no.
Right. Suofeng concludes they are not. He labels them evildoers.
Evildoers.
And taking it a step further, he says anyone who remains totally indifferent when encountering a beautiful or handsome person isn't demonstrating moral fortitude. They are behaving like wood, stone, or sculptural robots.
So the people we usually hold up as the ultimate moral paragons, the strictly monogamous, fiercely loyal spouses who never look twice at another person.
Right, the societal ideal.
According to Sufeng, they are actually monsters, evildoers, or unfeeling robots. I mean, it completely inverts the moral compass.
This inversion is really central to the entire essay. And Sufeng argues this isn't some recent corruption either.
How long has it been going on?
He says it's a massive historical reversal of truth that happened generations ago, since the time of our grandparents, grandparents, grandparents.
Wow. So humanity has basically been trained to regard the false mask as true and the true amorous nature as false.
Yes. The essay actually uses the myth of the Five Elements Mountain to explain this.
From Journey to the West, right?
Exactly. In that classic Chinese epic, the incredibly powerful Monkey King is crushed under a mountain for 500 years as a punishment.
Right.
Suofeng is using this metaphor to say our true, vibrant, amorous nature has been pressed under the mountain of societal programming.
Ah, I see.
Meanwhile, the fake constructs, exclusive loyalty, vows of forever, the devil's program of marriage, they are running the world, waving their flags everywhere.
Man. Okay, so this brings us to a really critical philosophical pivot.
Let's do it.
If traditional monogamy is a scam, and exclusive vows are just conditional lies spoken by monsters and sculptural robots, how does Weffen redefine real love?
That's the big question.
Yeah. Like, what does a true connection even look like if it isn't exclusive?
Well, this is where the logic requires a total paradigm shift.
Okay, lay it on me.
We usually operate on a scarcity model of love. Like if I give you a piece of my heart, I have less to give someone else.
Right. It's a limited pie. Therefore, true love means hoarding all my affection just for you.
But Zufing operates on an abundance model. Because an amorous heart is the truest heart, the capacity to love is more like a muscle.
A muscle.
Yeah, if you restrict it, it atrophies.
Okay, that makes sense. So what's the conclusion?
The resulting paradox is really fascinating. The essay argues that a person who truly loves you must also love the world.
Whoa.
Yeah, if someone shuts out the rest of the world and claims to only love you, their love is inherently weakened. It's false, and it's corrupted by the devil's program.
So therefore, true love can only be generated by someone who is actively embracing their amorous nature.
Exactly.
Only a woman who loves many men or a man who loves many women possesses a heart true enough to actually offer genuine love to anyone.
That's the core argument.
That is wild. It forces you to look at your partner and realize, in order to truly love me, they have to love 10,000 other people too.
It's a completely different way of viewing devotion.
It really is. But Zhifeng doesn't just leave us with this radical theory, does he?
No, he doesn't.
He actually proposes a concrete architectural solution to replace the corrupted societal software.
Yes. He claims that in heaven there are absolutely no marriages or traditional families, and he has outlined a way to build a paradisical life right here on Earth.
So let's actually unpack the mechanics of that, because the proposed solution is designed to bypass the suffering caused by the masks entirely, right?
Right. Shuefeng pitches a new societal framework. He actually describes it as a game that will be launched soon.
A game?
Yeah. And the entire structure of this new community is based on a single guiding principle: being a groom every day and a bride every night.
Being a groom every day and a bride every night, I mean, let's be honest, that sounds like pure chaos on the surface.
That definitely sounds like it.
But if we follow the essay's logic, it's actually a highly structured dismantling of ownership and relationships, isn't it?
Precisely. The devil's program of marriage crashes because we input love and we expect permanent ownership in return.
Right, and that expectation breeds resentment.
Exactly. By removing the expectation of permanence, you remove the despair when the dynamic naturally shifts.
Oh, I get it.
In this game, the 10,000 infatuations are allowed to run freely without the heavy architecture of lifelong vows trying to contain them.
So you input transient joy, and you receive transient joy.
Yes. It repairs the input and feedback loop, reaping melons from melon seeds.
Reaping melons from melon seeds? Wow.
Participating in this game is how one supposedly discovers, in practical terms, that the amorous heart is the truest heart, completely free of jealousy or the need to hoard affection.
It really requires completely uninstalling the operating system most of us have been running since childhood.
It does. It's a total reboot.
I mean, just look at where we started. We began this exploration with the premise that visual forms automatically give birth to souls, creating 10,000 distinct sparks of attraction.
Right.
And then we watched how society hijacked that Tathagata nature, forcing us into a devil's program where expecting loyalty only harvests despair.
Yep, the input and feedback loop.
Then we looked closely at the poor man whose vows are really just a symptom of his empty bank account. And the unnatural monster flower that wilts for everyone but one person.
The sculptural robots.
Right. And it all culminates in this radical vision of an earthly paradise where love is expansive, transient, and shared globally. Groom every day, bride every night.
It is a profound, sweeping deconstruction of everything modern society holds dear.
It really is.
And while it is an intensely controversial framework, looking at human interaction through this entirely different set of foundational assumptions, it serves as a powerful philosophical exercise.
Absolutely.
It challenges the root code of our behaviors.
It definitely forces you to think.
So as you go about your day, consider the implications of this thought experiment.
Yeah.
Even if you firmly reject the idea of polyamory, even if you find deep, genuine fulfillment in a monogamous marriage, the text forces a jarring question.
What?
How much of what we experience as our deeply personal instinctual feelings are actually just social scripts we memorized before we were old enough to understand them?
Wow. Are your desires truly your own, or are you just running the program you were handed?
Exactly.
It makes you wonder, if you're totally free from consequence and societal judgment, what would your heart actually look like? Well, thank you for taking this deep dive with us into the philosophy of the amorous heart. Keep questioning the invisible structures around you.